On today's Saturday news, AEW hit 60,000 tickets sold for All In 2023.
We've got an update on CM Punk and the new AEW roster split.
Drew McIntyre is currently working with a good chance that he's going to leave at the end of his current deal and contract thing, you know.
And we've got all the plans for the World Heavyweight Title Tournament. Are you ready? Are you ready for the news time? Yes, my name is Phil Chambers. I'm joined by Gareth Morgan and Salty Sea Dog as well. Don't forget about this little guy. It's Talk All Things Wrestling. But before we get into it, make sure you subscribe to the channel, like the video down below, comment what you think of each of today's stories, and links to each story is in the description, so click the timestamps and off you go. But first up, Gareth.
AEW ticket news, because it's the thing everyone's talking about right now, because they are doing insane numbers. That's just no matter what way you're going to look at this, 60,000 tickets sold within the first 3-4 days of the tickets being in and around the public sphere, everything else. Like, it's insane that these numbers have been hit. But what do they mean? What does 60,000 mean? Like, if you break it all down, well, Tony Khan was on hand just to let you know, because he loves an opportunity just to kind of say how well his company's doing, and I don't blame him. So he put on Twitter, he said, All In London sold 60,000 tickets, and that equates to £6.1 million for the British and everyone else here. And then $7.7 million that is also for, like, if you swap that over, that's how much that's worth. And just for a bit of, like, context, WWE, when they did Clash at the Castle, and I'm not just going to turn this into another WWE versus AEW kind of thing, but when they did Clash at the Castle, they had an 8 million live gate, and that was impressive. That was a hell of a number. So 7.7 million gate currently, and those tickets have been on sale for 4 days, which is ridiculous. Tony's already said it's one of the greatest success stories in wrestling history. Very hard to argue with that. And there's still great seats. That's what he says. They're on sale now. And everyone's going nuts about it, quite rightly so, because Chris Jericho's gone on Instagram and he was like, yeah, come to AEW, see AEW in Wembley, and Chris Jericho. He very much put himself over in the video as being the draw. So he is the person that all 60,000 of us want to go and see Chris Jericho, obviously. And we've also got the Young Bucks, who went on Twitter, and in their typical Twitter bio way, they shone a light in it, said how proud they were that All In 2 is a thing. Look how far they've come. It's exciting. I'm excited. Everyone's just going nuts about it. We've all got our tickets. It's going to be epic, isn't it?
It is indeed. We're all going to be there, obviously, of course we are. But they've just released another sort of band of tickets along the top bit that weren't for sale, like behind the hard cam before. And they're just going to keep on going, these tickets. I think even if it slows down now after the sort of mad rush of desperately trying to get it. Like, the moment they announced, like, a CM Punk for this. Like, we were talking about this in the office the other day. It's been 10 years since CM Punk has wrestled in the UK. And that was like a WWE tour where he was working injured, and so he just did like tag matches with Daniel Bryan at the time, obviously. But like announcing Punk back in the UK for like the first time in 10 years is going to be another big batch of those tickets. And even like the little straggly tickets along the top, that's the kind of thing people would just take a punt on, like on the week of the event or something like that. They're like, it's probably going to sell out this. It's absolutely like an incredible achievement for AEW. They went big and they are not going home because they're going to Wembley.
I think Dave Meltzer described it. He described it as a gamble, but a smart gamble. As soon as you're looking at this now, it's like, what have you got to lose, really? Like, you're always going to get, 25 to 30,000. That was like pretty much a guarantee it was going to happen. Yeah. Anything above that is a massive bonus. So this is like miracle bonus. This is ridiculous, but awesome. This is what I want to see. Look at this business right now. Again, sellouts everywhere. WWE and AEW, you love to see it.
Indeed you do. I think Meltzer said as well that it costs $400,000 to rent out Wembley Stadium. So if you equate that with the 7 million or whatever that Tony Khan's been saying, that's good figures. Good figures. But speaking of AEW, the new show, AEW Collision, is coming soon. And obviously it's expected that CM Punk is going to be sort of the main star of that night, working mostly the Saturday show. Well, according to Meltzer, again, of the Wrestling Observer, Punk will also appear on Dynamite as well from time to time, kind of if and when required. It's all kind of up in the air at the minute, so nothing's kind of totally finalized about like having the sort of strict brand splits or anything like that between the two different shows. But apparently when Punk is off to work Dynamite, when he needs to, the people with unresolved issues with Punk will be on Collision that week to kind of keep them a little bit separate, because we just can't seem to come to terms about this. So that's the way they're going to kind of keep these things separate. And So it's going to be a brand split, but like people will be able to move as and when it's required. So there's apparently also been no progress on fixing the issues between Punk and certain people backstage. Obviously, it was very much hoped it would all be resolved by now, but it's not, let's say. So it's going to be sort of less of a hard roster split than we originally thought. The idea for the women's division as well is because there's not enough sort of star power across the division. That's probably going to be less of a brand split than the guys will be, so they'll float around a little bit more. The idea is that obviously Dynamite will be taped on the Wednesday with Rampage, and Collision will be taped on the Saturday with Ring of Honor. So you kind of get the added show on each night as well. And then Rampage kind of turns into the new AEW Dark, which kind of features more sort of up-and-coming talent, younger guys and things they want to sort of get over a little bit more like that. So that's kind of changes to AEW Rampage on that. There won't be the live Rampage shows on the Friday anymore. It'll just be the Dynamite tapings and the Collision tapings, and you'll get a little bit of added extra on both nights. But very interesting stuff this with the sort of AEW brand split. Not quite as firm as we might have once thought, but also that things are still up in the air and still being decided.
I mean, I don't know. The more we're talking about this now, the sillier it's feeling. I think the way that's being framed now, it's like, okay, you go here, but we can't be there. And it's just this evasion thing. It's just get over it, guys. Come on. I don't know what happened specifically. None of us do. Let's be completely honest. We weren't there. Like, there could have been stuff that just really needs like sorting out, and they need to sit in a room and really get at it. And it's just not a case of sorry, stuff happens. Let's move on.
Yeah.
But there is so much money to be made here, and I don't know if this is just a way of like using that controversy to get eyes on Collision, things like that, which it very much could be, and it's kind of working because we are talking about it a lot.
Yep.
But in the end, come on, there is.
Why can't we be friends? Why can't we be friends?
I can see the video package now. So it's just yeah, I don't know. It seems very strange. I'm intrigued though. I'm intrigued to see how everything works out with all the show changes, like you said there with Rampage and all those kind of things. So let's see where things kind of tumble out down the line. And speaking of that kind of mentality right now, it's very intriguing looking at what's going on with Drew McIntyre, because obviously we've not seen Drew McIntyre on WWE programming since WrestleMania 39. Obviously he lost in that match against Sheamus and Gunther for the Intercontinental Championship, and then since then he has apparently been injured, and then there's also been some contract issues because he is coming towards the end now of his current deal that's said to be expiring, I believe, towards the end of this year, maybe at the end of this year, and it'll be like the start of next year as a free agent, that kind of thing. And WWE and Drew appeared to be quite far apart on that, but we've had another update from Dave Meltzer in the Wrestling Observer newsletter, the most recent edition of that, and he's kind of gone into a bit of detail. He's kind of speculated a few things, and he's saying, okay, I think this is maybe where they should go with the company with Drew, but within that, he's also put a little like sprinkle of new information or like updated information on Drew as well. So the quote is as follows. It says, it's also very clear the company badly needs a main event heel, and now is the wrong time to turn Rhodes or Rollins, meaning it makes all the sense in the world to turn McIntyre. But more, they need to elevate Reed, Priest, Balor, or Mysterio to that top heel level. He's talking about Ray. No, he's not. Also, after that, he then says, because McIntyre right now is working with the idea there's a good chance he's finishing up, he could do a big program for the title as a challenger and finally leave. And then he goes on to say, like, people like Randy Orton, Brock Lesnar almost could just step in and like after that and then just fill the blanks until WrestleMania. Blah, blah. But it's looking there. He's saying that Drew is pretty much working currently with in his mind that it's coming to an end. This second big, highly successful run in WWE. Like, there's no other way of framing it. He's had a hell of a second run up to a point. Obviously, the last maybe year or so hasn't been incredible, but it's also worth noting on top of this that he was, I believe, originally advertised for the Money in the Bank show, which is obviously coming over to the UK, and they always want Drew front and center when they come to the UK because he's Iron Drew. But now he has been taken off that. He's been taken off that advertising. He's been replaced with Roman Reigns. I think the same thing happened with Charlotte Flair and Rhea Ripley. And Charlotte Flair's obviously, I think she said she was going to be off TV for a bit. So it seems to sync up. I know there's a lot of kind of filling in the blanks yourself and like a lot of speculation there, but it's looking potentially like Drew could be done quite soon in WWE, which is, I did really see that coming this year.
Yeah, me neither. It felt like he'd sort of finally become the kind of WWE guy that he always sort of threatened to be. that sort of top tier WWE guy who's just kind of around there forever. But he has a history of betting on himself, and maybe he's thinking that if he can't get the deal that he's looking for here, he can just go elsewhere. There are other places available to him. Maybe just one last run through like AEW or like a New Japan or something like that. Last time he left WWE, he completely reinvigorated himself. He went on an incredible run around the independent scene and just completely reinvented himself and turned him into this sort of new version of Drew McIntyre and became a much better professional wrestler, and then put himself in a much higher spot when he came back. And maybe he can just do that all over again if he's got the confidence in himself and he isn't feeling like WWE are where he thinks he's at with the sort of contract deals. Why the hell not go and bet on yourself again? Because he's done it before and proven that it works. So why not get what the best deal you possibly can, Drew? It's a shame. Obviously, he's had a great run in WWE this time around, but it's like most of his big run was during the sort of pandemic era, which again, you'd think WWE would come to support after the fact because of how big a deal he was during that pandemic era. Like, he was one of the shining stars of it, sort of along with like Bayley's and Sasha's and Asuka's. Like, he was like the tippy top of like carrying WWE through one of the hardest times they've been through in recent memory. So you'd think they'd kind of reward him for that, but I guess not.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll have to wait and see where Drew goes. But finally, where he's not going, apparently, is towards the World Heavyweight title. And Triple H has laid out the plans for the World Heavyweight title tournament. He was doing a press conference for Backlash, and he'd laid out what it's going to be. And it's a little bit weird, because he did say that this entire belt was Raw exclusive, and now he's saying that the tournament is going to be across both brands for some reason. But anyway, there's on Raw after Backlash, there will be 2 triple threat matches. The winners of those matches will face off to get sort of one winner for Raw. And then the same thing will happen on SmackDown. 2 triple threat matches, the winners of those face off. So you have one winner from Raw, one winner from SmackDown, and then at Night of Champions, these 2 will fight for the new World Heavyweight Championship. It's a little bit weird. It's kind of mixing messages in terms of literally you've only just done a draft split. You've just said that this belt is exclusive to Raw, and now you kind of just say that it's on SmackDown as well. But we'll see who wins both matches, and then obviously who gets the championship at Night of Champions. But an interesting move, let's say.
Yeah, it feels very much like the certain someone's back in the mix, doesn't it? Because it feels like Triple H has gone, this would be great, and they've gone, no, actually, let's just mix it up and just spread it across all our TV shows to get eyes on things and just forget about the logic, whatever. I'm excited for the actual tournament because, of course, I'm just a simple wrestling lover and I love tournaments and love, like, just somebody being crowned a new world champion. Who doesn't? But I saw some people put online, this isn't, like, my kind of, like, take or, like, booking plans or anything else, but I saw some people saying this could act as, like, a last chance for some people who want to be drafted over to a certain brand. Do you know what I mean? So, like, if someone's gone over to a SmackDown and they really want to be a part of Raw, they could use this tournament as a way to simultaneously get over to Raw and win a world championship. Woo! So there's that.
But if that was the case, they shouldn't have put them on SmackDown.
They should have. But we don't think like that, Phil. We think until the end of that show, and then the plan changes again, and then we think to that show, and then the plan changes again. That's have you not been watching? We've been paying attention to the goddamn thing. We make it up as we go, and we have a good time with it all. Accidentally, it works out for the best. So we'll see. We will see what happens. It's going to be a big weekend. My goodness.
It is indeed. I will say Backlash is looking like a great little show. And we will be doing a live stream for it tonight. Me and Michael Pamphlet will be live streaming WWE Backlash starting midnight UK time, 7 p.m. Eastern. Starting with the kickoff show. We'll be there for the whole of Backlash. It's going to be a lot of fun. So come join us on the channel and watch some wrestling with us. But what you can also do is follow us over on Twitter. You can follow me at PhilMyChambers, and you can follow Gareth
at BadButNotGMorgan04.
You wish. And you can follow all of us at WhatCulture WWE. Subscribe to the channel. Like I say, comment down below what you think of all of today's stories, including the World Heavyweight title tournament, and what you think of AEW selling a buttload of tickets for All In. Ups and Downs is on its way, so make sure you look out for those. And most importantly, have yourself a bloody good day.
Bye-bye.